Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We start in the courts. The case against the suspect behind the killings of 3 COSAS members during apartheid in 1982 has been postponed to Friday. Tlhomedi Ephraim Falapitsa, who allegedly used explosives to carry out the murders, appeared in the Gauteng division of the High Court in Johannesburg almost 40 years since the killings. ENCA's Masego Ratlaga is monitoring court proceedings and joins us now for an update. So a postponement, Masego, to Friday. I guess, you know, when a case has been delayed this long, what's a few days, right? But as they say, justice delayed is justice denied. I'm wondering about the sense of anticipation of how this court case will play itself out.
Well, Tilasizo, it was a bit of a slow start here in the South Gauteng High Court in Johannesburg, but of course the judge was able to get the state to understand that she needed a few things first rectified and to be made available before she says that this is something this is a case that is ready for trial. So a pre-trial, essentially, Tilasizo, takes probably half the day or a full day, where the defense, for instance, will put on the table what it is that they are willing to admit to, and the state would essentially agree that you know, this is the evidence that they would that they have proven, and then they will say which evidence is in dispute, and it basically makes the trial a little bit shorter. Tilasizo, that's the understanding that I had from my conversation with the NPA spokesperson Pindim Janondwane, but I will be speaking to her as well. For now, though, let me speak to the family. It's quite a taxing time for the families of these COSAS, for even including, for instance, Ubabuzandisile Musi, and this is his older brother, Umbulelo, who was in court. Sir, I saw you confronting the accused, somebody that you knew, somebody you say you shared meals and came to your house to share meals with you, and is now accused of doing this to your brother. I saw you confront him and ask him why he did that.
Of course I had to ask him that. He was our neighbor, and like as Africans, as neighbors, he was our brother. He was elder than me, closer to my elder brother. We even left the country together with him. My brother, may his soul rest in peace, Longisa Musi, who passed away in exile, was a member of MK. He was a relative to another friend of ours, Nogi Sibutum, who also, in fact, was more closer to my brother, and I was closer to them politically than him. So I saw him as an elder brother in 1976. When I started recruiting the two others, he joined us. I thought that we were fighting for a cause for liberation. We went to Botswana, we went to Tanzania, me personally, I went with him in Germany to do special course on training to come and fight for liberation. We shared rooms in Germany. Least did I know that that training was meant to come one day to come with my brother, kill the brothers of young kids. We're talking of Njingo, we're talking of Bimo, we're talking of Fanyana. So he comes back, the ANC has confidence in him, brings him, he goes to the then regime, and then he hands himself over to win trust. He experiments by our own who took him as an elder brother, pretends to recruit them only to put them in that mess. Now, what to me and the families, and I think it's important also you hear them, is that at least justice has come, but it has taken too long. It's 40 years of pain. Secondly, the sooner the justice system really looks at all the matters, we've got the Maponyas of this world in Kagiso. We've got Bonaventures of this world. We've got a community that still has wounds, besides the Musi, the Madikelas, and who still have a reparation to be done. I'm not talking only about the issue of the justice as criminality. It's important, yes, and we see it's a significant step. To us as Musi family, we just buried Sandisile, just in July the 3rd. Just on the verge, my brother is gone. In 2012, my mother was buried, asking, when is justice going to happen? My grandmother passed away, when are we going to see justice? So many people left with pain. All we're saying is that it's important the sooner our criminal justice system has a turnaround time, the better. Secondly, to us, it's not only about justice in terms of just criminal justice. We need reparation. A reparation goes with issues like repair emotions of people. People have been devastated emotionally. Repair their social standing and well-being. It's a comprehensive intervention. Yes, the TRC did something insofar as they gave us 30,000 for Zando, 30,000 for each family. That was 1996, I think, if I remember. Now, what happens during the years when people are still trying to heal and come to terms with that? Because this thing opens wounds again today. All I'm saying is justice delayed is justice denied.
Thank you so much, Ntate Musi. And I don't know if there's any other family member who'll be able to speak to us. Of course, they'll speak amongst themselves if they want to. I think they're a little bit, too heartbroken. But in the meantime, let's speak to the NPA spokesperson, Sispindi Mjonondwane. Sispindi, I'm sure you heard me earlier trying to understand, and explain to the viewer the matter of a pre-trial before the actual trial. How far are we? What is the exact reason that saw us postpone this case today?
Okay, the matter was set down for a pre-trial hearing. So it then becomes a hearing where the judge sits with both parties to determine their state of readiness. So there are issues that the judge wants the state and the defense to iron out so that she can then approve and say, indeed, I am convinced that this matter is now trial ready and be able to set the trial date. So hence the matter was then postponed. They are given until Friday to sort out those issues. So on the 27th we are back in court so that those issues, the judge can be certain that they've been dealt with and the matter can now be postponed for a trial date.
I imagine this is done in cases like this because it's been so long before justice could be served. So this is, of course, needed for the families. But just explain to me, Sispindi, why are we seeing this postponement of this pre-trial? Is it something on the side of the state that is outstanding?
Not really. It's from both parties. But there are certain things like photographs that the state has mentioned in their pre-trial minutes, which has not yet been provided to the defense. So it's just amongst other things that are outstanding. So hence the court then gave an opportunity to both parties to meet again and out those issues. And then on Friday when they come back, they must come up with concrete pre-trial minutes so that the court can then approve and be satisfied that the matter is ready for trial.
All right, then we'll see you on Friday. Pindim Mjonondwane there. And, Tilas, just to wrap up what happened here today, I did get a chance to speak to the accused and ask him, how he feels being accused of such a heinous crime against his own friends and people that he knew. These were neighbors. Some of them, he lived opposite their homes. And as you heard from the brother of Mr. Musi, he, was friends with they were friends with some of his relatives. They ate together. They went to exile together to come back here and fight for the liberation of the country. And so when I asked him how he feels that he's on this side of, the democratic South Africa, he promised me an interview once the trial is done. And, I saw the families asking him why he did it, and he couldn't answer them, and he was whisked away and outside of court. So, of course, we'll be seeing him again on Friday, and we'll be holding him to his promise to speak to us once the trial is done. We understand it's going to happen from the 4th of October and that it would take about 5 days. That's what the National Prosecuting Authority has forecast.
All right, thank you for that. Interesting developments there, Masegora Tlhaga, out at the High Court in Johannesburg. This is the case that is known as the COSAS 4. These were young people that were killed. 3 of them died in 1982, and another one survived the attack and the killing using explosives. And the person at the center of it is Comedy Ephraim Mfalapitsa, and we are told this was someone who initially was an ANC activist but became an Askari, with the result that these young people who had these ideals of joining the armed struggle were basically lured by him to a particular area, I think a former mining area, where they were killed allegedly by him. And finally, it would seem the wheels of justice are finally moving, or at least that family. There's still about 300 cases, in my understanding, thereabouts, that came from the TRC, where the TRC said, pursue these. charge people here, prosecute people there. You would think that would have happened by now in a democratic dispensation.